Hello, guys, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the live. We'll get started in a couple minutes. I'm just gonna wait for a couple more people uh, to join the live. So, if you guys are here on a this beautiful Friday night, welcome. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me, talking about markets, talking about what happened today in the market, and what to expect for next week. Because we have a long weekend. We have a 3-day weekend. Memorial Day on Monday. So it was an interesting day today, and I think it's going to be a very interesting next week on the market. So we're here to talk a little bit about what is going on in the market for next week, and also what happened today. Why is it that the market's dropped? So we'll get started in a little bit. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Uh, Rafi, welcome to the live, man. Thank you for being here this beautiful Friday. Do you think the market is going to hit a all-time high soon? Rafi, I don't know that, but here's what I think. Okay, here's my prediction for the next couple weeks. Okay, you know what happened today? Early in the morning, I posted a video in my profile. Today, early in the morning, Trump woke up with, I guess, with the willingness to move the market. He's been doing that for a while. I think most Fridays he likes to create a lot of volatility. So for the past few Fridays, I've noticed that he comes out and says something that moves the market because he likes to leave everyone hanging over the weekend, especially this weekend, because we have a 3-day weekend, so the markets don't open on Monday. Uh, so he came out today and he said, "Hey, we're going to impose." He didn't say we're going to impose. He said we may have to, and he threatened the European Union with a 25, not 25, 50% tariff, um, if they don't move on with the talks on tariffs. So he said we may have to start doing that on June 1st, I believe. And then later in the day, he said no, that's going to be a set tariff, 50%, because they're not dealing with us, and we're just tired of waiting, pretty much. So so after that, the market tanked. I thought the market was going to be at least flat, or maybe drop a little bit. Yesterday we talked about that during the live, and we said, I don't, I my personal opinion, I didn't see the market dropping yesterday night. I said it might be a little bit in the red. It might be a very flat day, just because it's Friday. Friday, a lot of options expire. So, and a lot of institutions don't really trade on Fridays um, because they don't like the uncertainty over the weekend, because stuff like this can happen out of nowhere. So they don't really trade on Fridays. There's not a lot of volume, so stocks don't really move on Fridays typically. But I did say that yesterday, if the administration comes out, in this case Trump, if he comes out and says something about the market that the market doesn't like, then the market is going to tank. And that's something that you can't predict. Like, you don't know, right? Like, only he knows. Only he and his team know what's going on and what's going to happen on a Friday. So I did say that yesterday, because that's what's been happening for the past couple months. Every Friday he comes out, says something, moves the markets. The markets close on a Friday. No, they don't open Saturday, Sunday. So he likes to leave that uncertainty for the weekend, so that other countries start thinking about it and what's going on. Why are we, in this drop? Or so he likes to do that on Fridays. I kind of been getting that move from him for the past couple months. So whether the market is gonna hit an all-time high, I firmly believe that the market is gonna hit an all-time high before it drops again. Why do I say that? Because if you look at the indexes, if you look at the S&P 500, I mean it's right here, and let's look at the daily chart. So it's been getting bad news for the past entire week. Last Friday we started with a downgrade on the credit by Moody, and the stock market dropped after market, but it was only about 1.8%. So it wasn't a horrible drop, but it did drop. I think it was actually like 1%. And then Monday it kind of recovered. Tuesday it was doing great. Then Wednesday we had bad news again about the auction on bonds, on U.S. bonds. That didn't go as planned. So the yields on the bonds, you know, they 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 got to over 5%, I believe, and I think it was 5.2, 5.1%, and that scared the markets. So the markets dumped again. And then today, 50% tariffs on the European Union. The markets tanked again, but then it kind of recovered a little bit. So we've had bad news after bad news after bad news, even though companies are having good reports. They've been reporting good earnings, the good companies, right? Apple, um, Google, Microsoft, all of these big companies, they've had good earnings for the past month when they reported. So that is keeping the market strong. And after bad news after bad news after bad news, I haven't seen the market tank as it should. So in my opinion, I think the market wants to hit an all-time high before before it goes to before it drops again. So let's see. Can you give a breakdown on the use of TradingView? I just got a computer. On uh, period. Is this period? You missed my question. No, man. So a breakdown like how to use it or how to like how to add the indicators. Like I'm not sure what the question is, but I try to use some of uh, the simple indicators. I don't try to add as many as a lot of day traders do add on their chart. So I add the simple moving averages, as you can see, the 200 in orange, the 50 in green, the 20 in blue, and then of course I have my volume to know how many people are trading, and my RSI, which tells me when a stock is oversold or when a stock is overbought. So those are the only indicators that I add to my chart, and you can do that by once you have this application, you could just go here to the top and then go to the indicators and then just add the ones that I just mentioned, and then the time frames. I just mainly use the daily time frame, the 4 hour, the 1 hour. Those are the typical time frames that people use for swing trading. Now day traders, they use different time frames because they are trading in the day, and scalpers too. They use probably like the minute time frame or the 5 minute just to see where to enter, where to exit. See, uh, the gold that was found in Uganda. What's your thoughts on what could happen? I read about that. I haven't completely read the article on that, but I did hear that they found billions of dollars worth of gold. I mean, if you were to ask me now, I haven't read the article yet, but if you were to ask me now, the more gold you have, I think the gold that we have now will lose a little bit of the value because now you have more gold, and it would probably drop a little bit the value of gold. But I mean, for that country, they're gonna be able to sell a little bit more gold. So, but I haven't read the article yet. I don't know exactly how much they found, and I need to see what the news on that was, but we'll see. Let's see how to use it in use the indicators. Period. I'm gonna be dropping some videos during the week. so that people can know how to add indicators, and also how to use those indicators to know when it's a good time to buy, when it's a good time to sell. That's what I use. Okay, a lot of other people, they use different indicators. That's what works for me. I just try to make it very as simple as possible, because at first I try to add a bunch of indicators right into the chart, and it didn't work. You're looking at 100 things on the chart when it's already a complicated chart, because you're looking at candles, what kind of candle you get, you're looking at the SMAs, you're looking at the RSI, you're looking at the volume, and then you add more stuff to it. It's very confusing. But I'm going to be dropping some videos, because it's a little bit more complicated than um, than you think it is, just to explain it in the live. I'll be here for many hours, but I'm gonna be dropping some videos step by step on how to add certain things, so that you can start looking and make sense out of the chart. So definitely I will do that. I got some Apple today. You think that was okay, or maybe better wait next week? So JF, Apple isn't a little. I mean, actually, I have some news. I'm glad you asked about Apple. I'm glad you asked about that. That's a great question. So, for those of you that didn't hear the news today about Apple, um, like I said, Trump woke up in a bad mood today. So he immediately, let's see. So he immediately mentioned that he wants iPhone to be made in the U.S. And Tim Cook, who is the CEO of Apple, he's been trying to move the factories from China to India, because he wants to avoid the tariff that's going to be by bringing um, iPhones from China. I think right now it's a 10% tariff, but we don't know what's going to be, because there is a pause right now on tariffs while they work out the deal. And Tim Cook wants to avoid that tariff, so he's planning to move the factories to India. Well, Trump didn't like that. He said, "I don't like that. I want the iPhone to be made in America, to be made in the United States." So Apple stock dropped, I think, about 3% today, from being at 205 to like 195, 196. I think that's where it closed. We can look at that. I think it closed like around 196. 199, 195. Okay. Now, who asked me that question? That was JF. So JF, take a look at this. Okay. Apple's got a lot of resistance at 193. That's more or less where you bought, right? I think you said you bought. Oh, you said you bought some today. Okay. So it's got some support. I'm sorry, not resistance. It's got support at 193. Now, in my opinion, Apple is gonna be in a little bit of trouble for a little while, because, I mean, you probably already know that moving a factory from China to India is very hard, because you have to spend all of this money, train all of these people so that they can make iPhone. That's not gonna happen in a year. That's probably not gonna happen in 2 years. Just moving it from China to India, okay, just to keep making the iPhone affordable, because I don't think they're affordable now. But that will take a couple years to at least get that settled, get people trained, move all of this equipment. It's not as easy as Trump says, because he said, well, now computers make everything and the machines make everything, and it's not as easy as he thinks. So that would take years, first of all. Second of all, if they actually move factories to the United States, well, in the United States, workers get paid way more than they get paid in China. They get paid way more than they get paid in India. So maybe you don't pay a tariff, okay? Because Trump said if you make the iPhones in the United States, there's gonna be no tariff. But the problem is that it doesn't matter if there's no tariff. You're still got to pay more for American workers, right? Because here in America, we pay more for American workers. That's just the way it is. And especially if it's people trained for that specific job, you're not gonna pay them $15 an hour if you're assembling iPhones. That's probably at least gonna be 20, 20, 25 at the very least, if not more. I don't know. I don't know how much they get paid in India. I don't know how much they get paid in China, but I'm pretty sure it's not $15 or $20 an hour. And here, minimum wage, I mean, at McDonald's, you're making $20 an hour, right? So if you're going to be assembling iPhones, I don't think you're going to get paid $20 an hour. It'd probably be 30, 25, 30, maybe 40. So that automatically is going to make iPhones more expensive. I think they'd probably be cheaper if you just brought them from India with a 25% tariff, which is what Trump said he was going to do. As you can see in this article, he mentioned, that 25% tariff on iPhones if they are not made in the USA. And I think if they made them in the United States, they'll still be more expensive than if they still made them outside of the United States and paid that 25% tariff. So that's just my opinion. I don't know the numbers yet. So anyway, to answer your question, JF, I think Apple is probably going to continue to drop a little bit more. Again, just because they haven't resolved this problem. Tim Cook hasn't said anything. I don't think there has been, I haven't read any news about Apple responding to this 25% tariff. They do have an event next, I think June 10th. So in about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. They have an event, which is the WWDC, where they release a lot of the software that the iPhone runs, that the iPad runs, the MacBook. And usually, when they have those type of events, the stock tends to pump a little bit. But again, with these news and no communication on how Apple is going to make this work, are they actually going to bring iPhones or factories to America? So in my opinion, I think it's got a little bit more room. I'm not gonna get into a trade until it probably hits the next resistance at about 186, 185. Maybe I'll buy some. And then if it drops a little bit more to 170, 165, I'll buy some more. I don't know if it's gonna get there, but if I'm exposed at 186, I wouldn't be mad about it, to buy some shares there. And the way I do it, if I was you, I would buy, if you already bought some, use dollar cost average. Buy some, not personal advice. That's what I do. But if I bought some at 193, 195, I would just buy some more at 186. If it drops more, I'll buy more, because Apple, even if they go through these problems, they will still be here. Okay, they will be here after Trump leaves office. Apple is still gonna be here. So Apple's got a market cap. I mean, they were number one for a long time. Right now, their market cap dropped, but they are a $2.92 trillion company. They're the third company with the most money. Okay. So a stock that is this powerful is just not gonna disappear. Okay, because of this. No way. So I think it's got a little bit more room to drop, but it's your money is safe in these type of companies. So if you're investing in Apple, congratulations, you're already making a great decision. It's just, you just got to be patient. Okay, you just got to be patient, because you don't know where the bottom is. If this is the bottom, great. If they come out with news about resolving this problem next week, awesome, you're just gonna see some gains. And if it drops a little bit more, you just buy more. That's what I do. I just buy a little bit more. I'm not buying just yet, like I said. I want to play it safe, and I already have some shares in other stocks, so I'm not in a hurry. But if it does drop a little bit more, I'm probably gonna buy some. I bought it at 196. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, if you're willing to hold it for a little while, just because you don't know what's gonna happen with the news, I don't think you're totally crazy. I think you're right there. Scott, you bought a 195. Again, great company, a company that's going to be here, a company that's a great future, a company that has over $1 trillion, $3 trillion cap. It's not going to go anywhere. Before Apple disappears, you're going to see like half of the stocks in the S&P 500 disappear, and that's not going to happen. So don't worry, don't sweat it. You just got to be patient. Apple's got to find a way out of this problem with tariffs, and then we'll see Apple skyrocket again. All right, so let's see. Follow the host. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it, and thank you for the tabs. Thank you for the likes, guys. I'm already at 2,000 likes. I like when I see that. So if you guys are following my channel for the first time, my name is Gerardo. I do swing trade, and I also invest in the long term. So every day, Monday through Friday, I'm here from 9 to 10:30, 11, to talk about the market, to talk about what happened, and to kind of give a little idea on what to expect for the following week or the following day. In this case, will be until the following week because markets don't open until Tuesday. So we have Monday. The market is closed on Monday. So we'll see what happens. So I won't be here tomorrow or Sunday, but Monday night I will be here to talk about the market and to see what to expect on Tuesday. So if you guys are interested in the content I give, join me every day, Monday through Friday, 9 to 11. So thank you again for being here and giving me a little bit of your Friday night, and dropping comments to talk about the market. So I love doing this. ICOR 12 trillion, I believe 320 metric tons. Was that how much they found in gold? I need to read about that. I'm curious now. I'm telling you, I saw it on the news, but I didn't pay much attention because I like to disconnect. Like once the market closes on a Friday, I'm like, I need to disconnect a little bit more and take my time because I've been so obsessed with watching news and reading and like staying up to date. But I'm like, the market is closed. The market is still gonna be there. So I need to disconnect and not be so focused on the market over the weekend. So that's why I didn't really read the article, but I'm gonna do that today before I go to bed, and then disconnect for the whole weekend and not think about this because it's a lot of information. It's never ending. Like the market and the information that comes out, it's never ending. So we need to learn to disconnect a little bit and enjoy, time with family. Uh, Big T, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Yo, thank you for the follow. $12 trillion in gold. Awesome. I'm gonna read about that, iCourt. David, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Apple needs to recover 198 to go up. Regular investor and 198 to go up. Yeah, I mean, it's got a resistance of 200. That's a psychological level too. So I would say it needs to break the 200 to continue the move up. But again, if there are no good news, then I think it's gonna stay there for a little while. It's gonna struggle with that resistance. So we need to know what's going on and what's gonna happen with the tariffs and the factories. So Scott, did you buy some on 195? Scott, is that what it means? 195. Some Apple. All right. Let's see. He wants menial jobs here, but it's supporting people. That'll do him. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't like to get political here. I care about the markets. I don't care what happens, and what they do. I care about what they do in regards to the markets because that's what I do, right? I don't get political. It doesn't mean anything to me, unless they are ruining the economy, the United States economy, because that's what we all should care about, right? That they do good things for the country. As of now, I mean, it's got everyone on edge. All the countries, they don't know how to deal with this, and it was looking pretty good last week. Today, like I said, the news about adding tariffs to Apple iPhones, adding 50% tariff to the European Union, as you guys can see here. I know they dropped this in the morning, but he's not looking for a deal with the European Union after threatening a 50% tariff. During an interview, he said, "That's set. That's a 50% tariff. So I'm not changing that." That's what he said. Again, this guy can change his mind. I think he likes to put in, the bad news so that the European Union, they get things moving. And in my opinion, I think they will. Over the weekend, they'll probably talk about it, and eventually they will get to a deal. That is guaranteed. They will get to a deal sooner or later, because this 50% tariff is something that nobody can have. Just like the China tariffs. If you guys heard about that, when they raised the tariffs to like 145%, which was crazy, and China raised the tariffs on the United States at 125, that was nuts. But as you guys noticed, they went, they agreed to pause the tariffs and just leave at 10%. I think the same thing is going to happen with this. Right now is just kind of testing the waters and possibly getting to a faster deal or faster talks with the European Union. So I think it's just a matter of time before they talk and get to a deal or agree on something. So India to USA, regular investor, like iPhones from India to USA. JF, share the live. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you again. Thank you for the taps. Thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate it, guys. If you guys are here on the live, I cannot thank you enough. If you guys are sharing, if you guys are liking the live, that's all I need, to motivate me to keep doing this. So appreciate it. Probably union work too. Yeah, I mean for Apple, if they bring factories here, and I mean you just have to be realistic, right? I'm not against having more jobs in the United States. I'm not against that, but you have to be realistic. Are you gonna keep the iPhone prices are already very high? I think an iPhone, one of the cheapest iPhones, you can get it for like $600 or $700. Now imagine, a tariff on that. That's gonna be at least the cheapest at 800, maybe 900. The most expensive at 2,000, 2,500. That is just crazy. And Apple can't have that. Okay, I can guarantee you that Apple will not be able to sell iPhones at $2,000. That's why they're looking for a solution, because they know that an increase of price or that much increase will just make them look really bad and they will not sell enough. And that's all they care about. They care about selling iPhones to their customers, and their customers will not pay for a $2,000 iPhone or a $2,500. I mean, as of now, less people are upgrading. Okay, I read an article a little while back that said that not a lot of people are upgrading every year as much as they used to. They used to upgrade every year, but they've been increasing a little bit of the price of the iPhone over the years, and because of that reason, people have been upgrading less often. And imagine if they increase their prices by 25% or 20%, and let's say they eat the 5% and increase the price of the iPhone by 20. Still, people are not gonna buy the iPhones, and they don't want that. So, oh, you're Ray. What's going on, Ray? FR still cheaper from them to just pay 25 tariff and to increase prices. Yeah, that's what I said, Kevin. So I think it'd still be cheaper if they bring the iPhone from India or from China and just pay the tariff. They would pay much less than if they were to invest in a factory here in the United States and then pay the workers to make the phones and make all this investment just to have more expensive iPhones. I don't think it's doable, not as of now. Okay, unless Apple is they're geniuses. I mean, unless they come up with a solution where they can reduce the cost of making iPhones, maybe, maybe. But as of now, I just don't see it happening. Maybe robot fabric with no humans in the U.S. Maybe JF. I wonder if they can buy some Tesla robots. The what's it called? I always forget the name of the robot that Tesla is making. If you guys remember it, just drop it in the comments. But yeah, I don't know. If they get a bunch of robots like that in in the factory to put together iPhones, that might work. I know Amazon already does it with they have a lot of robots that move packages, but that's a whole different thing. I mean, they're just moving packages from one place to another, and they're very organized. So that's how they were able to cut cost at Amazon. Now I don't know if Apple can do that because that's a whole different market. But I hope they come up with a good solution. Nice teaching, brother. Yo, appreciate it, man. Appreciate the comment. Again, your comments and your likes and you guys sharing the live just motivates me to keep doing this. Okay. The reason why I do this, just short story. I struggled a lot when I first started. I was very frustrated because I wanted to find a way to make money, other than my job. I have a job. I teach during the day. I'm a teacher, but that's a great job. Don't get me wrong, that's a great job. But I'm a person that is very like I'm always looking for different ways to make money. And I was frustrated because I wanted to make more money and I knew there was a way. Because teaching will not make me wealthy. Teaching will not make me rich. Teaching will not help me raise $1 million. It will not. Absolutely not. No way. None of the teachers that I know retire with millions of dollars. None of them. Okay. And I know a lot of them. And they are very close to retirement and they're not retiring with $1 million. So I said, what can I do? Right? What can I do now so that I can retire faster and with more money in my pockets? And I I don't have family that does this for a living. They just have their jobs 7 to 5, same as many people in the United States. And so I kind of had to find my own way until I found the markets. When I found the markets, I said, well, I can just put money into any stock and I'll make money, because I see a lot of people make it. I see TikTokers just making money on when they buy stocks like, Bitcoin, or they buy SIDA, or, any one of those penny stocks. So I said, well, maybe that works for me. I could just put money in there. And I did. I made some money. But when I was making money, I had no idea how I was making the money. Okay. The first year, I think I made, I don't know, like $10,000 in profits. And then one day, one stock that I'm going to talk about that story later, later in the lives, one stock took away about 15K. Okay. I already had $10,000 in profits. And then at one point, that stock took all of it from me and more, like all my savings. I had some money on the side and it took it all. And I got so frustrated and so pissed and so sad too, that I said, you know what? I like this. I know there's potential in this, but I need to learn it to do it the right way. Because the way I'm doing it, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just buying what I see on TikTok. I'm buying what people say, hey, buy this. And I had no clue how to buy stocks, right? Because anyone can make some money, but not everyone can make it consistent. Because I have friends that invest in stocks and they're like, oh, I'm positive $2,000. And I'm like, okay, but can you make those $2,000? And I'm not hating, I'm great. And I'm happy for them. But the thing is, can you make that consistent? Can you make those $2,000 every month? Because that's what I want to do. I don't care if I don't win 10,000. I don't care. Okay. But if I win 1,000 every month and I can make those $1,000 consistent every month, that's where the wealth is. Making money consistently in the stock market. That's what I want. Okay. Or that's what I wanted. And little by little, I've been making it consistent every month, trying to get some cash out of the market, making some profits out of the market. And all of those things that I had to go through over the past 5 years, I bringing all that experience and share. I want to share that experience with you guys. If you are still struggling, trying to make money in the market, if you want to, get out of your 7 to 5 job at one point in your life and retire wealthy, you're gonna be in that 5% of the population of the United States. Not everyone is willing to do that, to make that sacrifice, to learn this stuff, because it takes time. It does take time. So anyways, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. And I hope that I can share some of the stuff that I know with you, and you guys can take advantage of the market, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, if you can make this work, you're gonna love it. You're gonna get addicted to it, and you're never gonna stop. Even if you say, well, I can stop when I have $2 million or $5 million, you're not gonna stop. You're not gonna stop, because you're gonna discover so many formulas to make easy money. So many. So I mean, I learn new stuff every day. I haven't stopped learning. So anyways, I think I went too long on that story, but I'm here. I'm just here to help, man. Let's see. Did you saw those whales buying the dip this morning on Apple? Um, I didn't. I mean, I think Apple dropped to like 194. That was the lowest, and it stayed in that range, 194, 196. So if they would have bought a lot of millions of shares, I think the stock would have probably hit at least resistance, and it didn't. It just stayed at that range. So the resistance is 193. JF, that's support. Okay, resistance is. Let me show you something really quick for all of you guys that are here. So first thing, when you want to know, because I struggle with this a lot when I first started, the first thing you want to do whenever you look at charts, whether it's TradingView or the TF2000, I think that's the other one, or Thinkorswim, whatever you use, you want to look at the daily candles, right? Right now I'm at the daily candles right here. See day, the D right there. That means that each one of these candles is 1 day of trading. So I want to see where the stock market has, where the candles have hit a price several times. So for example, here, right, the resistance at 200 today, or not today, yesterday, it stopped at that range. You see that candle there hitting that 200 mark. That tells me that that was support. Okay, because it was hitting that 200, it kind of bouncing a little bit off the 200 and then staying there. So yesterday stayed above the 200. Now back here on let's say May 6th. So on May 6th, that was resistance, because you see this candle here. Let me make it a little bigger. See that candle right there? That candle hit that 200 mark and then it went back down. This candle didn't actually touch this line, but it still stayed behind under it. So that means it was still resistance. Then this candle tried to touch it again, still resistance. This candle here touched that line again. Let me change that. It touched that line right there. Okay, let me mark all of these. So these three, okay, these four candles hit that 200 mark 4 days in a row. That is telling me, hey, this is resistance, because it keeps hitting that 200 and it's not breaking it. Oh, but what happened on the next day? That was on Friday of last week. Friday of last week, the stock made a big jump. So Apple made a big jump all the way to 205. So it broke that resistance. Now, when a resistance is broken, that 200 mark, instead of being resistance, it becomes support. Okay, so every resistance that's broken becomes support, which means that when the stock comes back down, because it will at one point, it'll hit that 200 mark and then probably bounce off again. Now, if we have bad news like the news we had today, you see how it hit that, oops, how it hit that 200 mark right there. Let me get this right. Right there, this was resistance. But because we had bad news today about the 25% tariff on Apple, well, that resistance was broken all the way to the next resistance, which was from the next resistance. You see this candle here was from April 21st. So that's the resistance. That's the support now. Is it gonna break it? I don't know. It all depends on how we wake up on Tuesday, because the market is closed on Monday. And if we have more bad news on Apple, it's probably gonna break that, go all the way to 186. Okay. So again, resistance broken becomes support. If that's broken, then you go to the next support, and so on. So I hope that makes sense. All right, let's continue with the questions. Let's see. I think I elaborate way too much. Julie, I don't know if you're still here, but I just saw your comment, so I hope you're still here, Julie. How's everything going with the book I gave you? I hope that's making sense. Nice teaching, no problem, man. Let me ask you, how many actions can I get to make money on any company? Rosario, how many stocks? I don't know. I mean, it depends. What's your goal? Is your goal to make money like every month, or is your goal to make money in the long term? Okay, because in the long term, you can buy the basket of stocks like the S&P 500, which is an ETF. That's why I call it like a basket, because you have a bunch of stocks in it. So if you buy an ETF like SPY or QQQ, I have them right here. SPY or QQQ or VOO, VTI. All of these are great stocks for the long term. They're great for trading too, but they don't move as much. Okay, so for trading, it's a little bit more difficult to make money on these stocks, but for the long term, they'll keep your money safe and they will return about 10% on average every year. So I don't know what your goal is. If your goal is long term, these are great. If your if your goal is short term and maybe trade, every week or every couple months and try to see if you can make some money off of that. I mean, I can't recommend you the stocks because again, when you give recommendations, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like with Apple, I had no idea they were going to drop the news today. I would have said to everyone, hey, buy Apple yesterday, but you never know the news that come out. And then I don't want to get the blame of, you told me to buy Apple, because I don't know what's going to happen, right? The news that come out these days affect the stocks, and you can't predict that. That's something that is unpredictable. But if it was me and I wanted to make money on the short term, I would buy when you have really bad red days. Like today, it was not that bad, but again, it dropped some of the stocks that you see on this list. All of these stocks are stocks that have market caps of over $1 trillion, which means these companies make a lot of money and they're worth a lot of money. So to me, these are safe bets to put in money when they are in red days. And if they drop a little bit more, I just buy a little bit more. No, I don't buy like all the stocks at once. Maybe I get maybe one share, maybe two shares, maybe 10. If it drops more, I buy another 10. If it drops more, I buy another 10, because I know these companies. I've studied these companies. I know these companies make money and they eventually break the downtrend and move up because their market cap is way too big. Um, Hola, Julie. So, hola, Julie. Again, I hope you're still here. Um, Erie, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Rosario, thank you for the roses. Thank you. Good information, brother. No problem, man. I wanted to ask you, thank you so much for your advice. I just make money today. You did? Awesome. Congratulations, Rosario. I'm happy for you. I'm happy you made money. Because market is very tough. It's like I think I put the example a while back, a couple streams ago or lives ago, when I said, the market is like you jumping into a Shark Tank and coming out alive with the treasure chest. That's how difficult the market is. But if you dove into that pool full of sharks or that tank full of sharks and you came out with your hands full of money, props to you. Okay, what companies that you recommend for the next week when the market opens? JF. Uh, I don't. I mean, like I said earlier, it's tough for me to just say, I buy this because I don't know what the news are gonna be, man. Here's my opinion. Okay, just take my opinion, and then you make your decision. These are the great companies that you see up here, right? Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Nvidia, Apple, Meta, Tesla. I'm a little. It's one of the most powerful companies, but Tesla is very volatile, just because they've had bad earnings. So they're right now they're not really making any money. Um, so I wouldn't trade Tesla. Okay, if I'm new to this, I wouldn't trade Tesla. But the other companies, they're not doing too bad. So every time you see a red day on these companies, maybe add a little bit, maybe add one share. See how much money you make. Maybe buy two, and if it drops some more, you get some more. Okay, but again, you gotta study these companies. You gotta see what their market cap is, what the risk is, what the P/E ratio is. All of those things that help you define or determine, whether it's a good company to invest your money in. But I think next week something good is gonna happen. I think over the next 3 days we're gonna hear something back from the European Union. about the 50% tariffs that Trump announced today. I think we're gonna hear something back. And then Trump also mentioned that there is a deal with India that they will announce in the next 7 days. Okay, so that's good news for the market. Once they release that, the market likes that because now they know what's going on with tariffs. So I think we're gonna get a little pump next week. And we also have Nvidia earnings on Wednesday. That will move the market because Nvidia now it's um, number two in market cap. So they are the second most powerful company in the stock market. And whenever they have earnings, that moves the market because if they make money, everyone makes money because they are in the S&P 500. So it's gonna pull all the stocks with Nvidia. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be volatile on Wednesday for sure. Because of your advice. Thank you, Rosario. I mean, I just try to give you as much as of what I know. So if you made money in the stock, congratulations to you. Based off this news, you want to put a put option on Tuesday for Apple. You could folio. And for those of you that don't know what a put is, it's basically you are signing a contract with the market, telling the market that you believe this stock is going to drop. So you have to have a strike price. You have to give the market a price. So in my example, I'm probably gonna enter into a put on Tuesday and say, hey, I think Apple is going to drop to 185, and the market is gonna pay me for making that bet. Okay, it's a contract, but I'm gonna call it a bet just to make it easy to understand. So the market is gonna pay me for making that bet. Okay, that's a call. That's called a cash secured put. So the market is gonna pay me, and if the Apple stock gets to 185, then if I buy one contract, that means at 185, when it hits that, I'm going to own 100 shares of Apple, but I have to have the money to pay for those shares. Which, if I buy 100, that's about $19,000. So I need to have $19,000 in my account to buy those 100 shares of Apple. Okay, so what happens if it doesn't drop all the way to 185? Well, I don't have to buy the shares. I don't have to, and I keep the bet that I made to the market. So that is called a cash secure put. That is when you know you're gonna buy the stock, but you have to have the cash to buy 100 shares because that is one contract. When you buy a contract in a cash secure put, you need to buy 100 shares. So I think that's what Folio was talking about. Folio beams don't regular investor. Investor why? Wells bought today. So I don't know what that means. What do you mean Wells? Like the institutions? Um, that's unfortunate. ETFs more preferred for a Roth IRA account, and if so, which ones? Period. Yeah, for a Roth IRA, definitely ETFs. I mean, you have some of the best ones like SPY, QQQ. If you're young, QQQ is one of the best ones because it pays you more. The older you get, the less QQQ you buy because it moves more, and the more SPY you get, or even VOO. VOO is a great ETF, VTI as well, and it's cheaper. But all of these track the S&P 500, so there's not a lot of difference between those. They just move a little bit less aggressively. We have to think. We have you to think positive. Thank you. No problem. Fully Bims, but up to you. It's your money. Yep, absolutely, man. So we don't give advice. You got to do your own research. We're just here to talk about the market. Brother, you just keep up with the comments. I'm trying, Roberto. I'm trying. I'm sorry, man, if I took a little longer, but I'm trying to keep up with the comments. I'm reading. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. No problem, JJF. Isidro, thank you. Welcome to the live today, man. What's going on? Did you trade anything today? Do you invest in crypto at Compa? No, I don't, man. I don't. Sorry. Crypto is a little bit volatile for me, so I try to stay away from crypto. Flacca, thank you for the follow. Charles, thank you for follow. Thank you for the follow, Charles. Appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the content and the stuff that we have to that we have here in the live. Predictions for next week and friends. I think we're gonna have good news. I think we're gonna hear something back either from the European Union, which is what pretty much moves the market now. I think we're gonna have good news on that. Trump already said today that there is a deal in the works with India, and he's going to announce that in the next 7 to 10 days. So we might hear something next week or the week after next week. I don't know, but he said 7 to 10 days to hear something back from India and the tariffs that they're going to impose to each other. It might be a zero tariff that I know the market would really like. So we just gotta wait for the news. But that's my prediction. I think we're gonna hear good things about that, and that's gonna pump the market. Rosario, every month. Yep, absolutely. Yes, I'm here listening on tapping. I'm still working on the book. I have a crazy schedule at work. I'm sorry, but take it easy. Take it easy. It's a lot to absorb. It's a lot to take in. Um, I just had a little class about support and resistance. So I don't know if you were here for that, Julie, but I was just explaining to everyone, how to identify support, how to identify resistance on the charts. Um, Predictions for next week and friends. Okay, so we went over that. No, I know that you won't be that won't be your fault. Yeah, I know. So that's why nobody in the stock market that's serious about this business gives out recommendations. Okay, because even the experts, even the pros that been doing this for 20, 30 years, um, they don't give out advice. Okay, the serious people. Now the ones that want to sell you stuff, they'll probably tell you, hey, join me and I'll tell you when to buy, I'll tell you when to sell. But they don't know. I mean, unless they have a relationship with the Trump administration, they don't know what's going to happen. They didn't know that they were going to announce 50% tariffs on Europe this morning. I guarantee it. And for you to follow and try to follow their trades, they can lose money because they've been in the market for a long time. I'm assuming that's why they're trying to get you to buy their course or pay for the membership or whatever. And I'm not saying they don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're knowledgeable. But the problem is that they have room to lose money, and maybe you don't. And if you follow them and follow their trades and you lose your money, they're not gonna pay you for that money, and they can lose that money because they have other accounts and they have more money to lose, or they have more time to wait. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're playing with your savings. So everyone's got a different situation. So nobody that's serious about this business is gonna tell you what to buy and when to buy. Okay, all we can do is give you a prediction of what we think, and then you make your own decision, right? Never average down, Big Papa. um I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. I do it all the time, and it pays off for me when you buy good stocks. Now, if maybe you had a bad experience with the stock and you kept buying on the way down and it never recovered, that happens when you buy a stock that doesn't have good fundamentals. Maybe a stock that doesn't have a good PE ratio. A stock maybe that's very expensive. So it depends on what stock you buy. Okay, again, it's just my opinion. If you don't do that and it works for you, by all means. Um, also Fed. What do you mean Fed, Rosario? Crypto T. No, I don't do crypto, man. I don't do crypto just because I don't understand. I don't fully understand it, like Bitcoin and XRP. I do track it. By the way, where's Bitcoin now? I know it was dropping. Okay, so it's at 108. It hit all-time highs at 111, and then it dropped a little bit. I drew just the resistance at about 106, 108, which was the previous resistance. But I don't trade it, man. I mean, if it was 2010 when Bitcoin was $100 and I didn't know where it was gonna go, I would probably put in like $1,000 just in case it hit. But at this point, it's just very expensive. And the problem with Bitcoin, and this is for all of you guys here that are planning to invest in crypto, if you do it and you understand it, by all means. But the problem with this is that crypto is open 24/7. So crypto is open right now. I mean, you guys see the numbers moving up here, right? Going up, going down. Obviously, moves more during when the market is open, but it's still moving overnight. So imagine if I'm asleep at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's how I see it. If I'm asleep at 2 a.m. in the morning, something crazy happens over the weekend, and the Bitcoin drops to 100,000 or to 90K for something that Bitcoin didn't like, um, and then I'm half asleep because I'm not watching this thing over at 2 a.m. in the morning, and so there's nothing I can do to control it. I mean, obviously stocks are going to do the same thing if something happens, but at least I know that stocks have fundamentals, at least the ones I invest in. So you, even if the market drops and you're investing in good companies, you know eventually they're going to recover. Okay, because our company, those are companies that you studied, companies that you know sell something that people will still buy no matter what happens. No, like Costco. I mean, people are still gonna go to Costco. Whatever happens, we have COVID. I think during COVID they even sold more because people were panicking about food and stuff. So stocks like that, they could drop overnight, but they will always recover. And Bitcoin drops, I don't know if it's gonna recover because they don't sell anything. They don't have earnings, right? So that's why I try to stay away from crypto. But if you do it and it works for you, by all means, man. I've been in Tesla since 20 and I turn 23 next month. I have 300 shares at 228. I really believe in it. Randy, um, I think Tesla is a great company. Don't get me wrong. I think it's got a bright future. Here is my only problem with Tesla, okay? And this is just my opinion. Um, you probably, I mean, if you track the stock, you probably know that it had really bad earnings. Last time they reported, the earnings were horrible, and the stock pumped. And I'm here thinking, why is the stock pumping if the earnings were bad? I mean, guidance was not great either because they're not selling more cars, right? So if they're not selling more cars and they make their revenue by selling cars and their market on cars drop about 65%, why is the stock pumping? So when I ask those questions that don't make sense to me, I'm like, I'm not gonna get into this because what if I buy here and then it just drops? No, that's my luck. So I'd rather not enter into Tesla now, but I do think Tesla has a bright future. Okay, because they have the Optimus, that's what the robot is called, that they're making. They have the robo taxi that's gonna be released next month. They have the full self driving that's also going to be released sometime this year. So they have really good plans. But the problem is that right now they're not showing that with data, with money. Okay, all of it is speculation. All of it is speculation. People believing in the stock because they think that all of these products are going to create a lot of revenue. Which, if it happens and it works great, I think it will. But again, it's kind of like playing the lottery a little bit with Tesla because right now the data doesn't back it up. But I mean, if you have a good average at 228, I mean, you're doing pretty good. I think it's probably gonna pump and hit all time highs at one point, especially if the robo taxi delivers. Rosario, thank you for the heart. Appreciate it. And guys, if you're here and you're tapping the screen, if I'm answering your question, I appreciate the taps. Much love, much appreciated. My advice for those who are not advanced traders: do not trade in the first 3 minutes or last 7 minutes. Absolutely. Wait 15 minutes and use the 15 time frame. If the next candle is above, it's bullish; otherwise, bearish. Yeah. So Isidro, he's hitting the nail right on the head. Here's the reason. Well, actually, this is my opinion, Isidro. Actually, it's more like the first. I would say the first 30 minutes when the market opens. Um, it's very dangerous to trade because a lot of the institutions, they put an order at the time the market opens. So a lot of the institutions, and these guys are dealing with a lot of money, right? They're buying millions of stock, and they say, well, they just put the order, so automatically execute when the market opens. So they put in, I don't know, just to give you an example, buy $5 million of Nvidia, or buy $10 million of Google at the market open, or vice versa. Sell $10 million of Nvidia, sell $10 million of Amazon at the market open. So the minute the market opens, then it's either going to move aggressively up or it's either going to move aggressively down depending on, on the macro economy, what's going on, what the news are. And that's why the first minutes, okay, I would say even the first 30 minutes, if you are day trading, I think that's what Isidro meant, right? Like if you're day trading, it's very dangerous to do it in the first 30 minutes of when the market opens, because the institutions are buying, selling, and their orders are getting executed overnight. Now, when they place millions of dollars in orders, not all of them execute at once. Okay, they take a little time. They don't do it like as soon as the market opens, it doesn't happen right away because they're buying a lot of shares or selling a lot of shares. They have to find the buyers or the sellers, and they execute little by little. So that's why, Isidro mentioned like about 15 minutes. I would say more like 30 minutes just to give it some time for the market to stabilize. Okay, and that's again, like Isidro mentioned, if you are new to this and you don't know, what to buy, what to sell, you're not sure yet, you don't know the market, you don't know how it moves. It's a little tricky and very volatile to trade early in the morning, and also when the market closes, because a lot of people are trying to get rid of some shares, or in some cases they're trying to buy some shares so they can open in the green on the next day. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that comment, Isidro. Nvidia, don't trade Tesla unless you can stomach the volatility. Very difficult stock. Yeah. So Tesla and Nvidia. You mean Tesla and Nvidia? I would think Tesla is very volatile. Nvidia, Nvidia doesn't move as aggressively because Tesla moves like $25 in a day sometimes. Nvidia doesn't. Nvidia moves maybe through $2-3, $5 the most. I think I've seen it. So it doesn't move as aggressively as Tesla does. But again, the stock is way more expensive on Tesla than it is on Nvidia. So that's probably why. SPY, Bandit. SPY, it's right on the 200 SMA as support right now. As you can see, this purple box, that's a gap that SPY left last, not this past Monday, but the Monday before that. And in my opinion, it depends on what news we get over this weekend. If we get good news on deals with the European Union, if they come out and say, "Hey, we're willing to come to the table and make a deal with the United States," I think SPY is gonna bounce off from the 200 SMA. But if there are no news and we have more bad news, I think SPY is at least going to fill this gap all the way to 570. Okay, that's a gap that left back in about 2 weeks ago, and gaps always fill, so that will happen. Is this options? cuts? No, this is not options. I don't do options. I don't do options, man. Just because options, you have to be right on strike price and you have to be right on the date, and that's, I don't know. Like, I'm bad to make those kind of predictions, so I don't do options. I do cover calls and I do cash secured puts. So I do those two options, but not options that you buy, without money. Jeff, what's good? You all yapping about day trading? Jeff, yes. I mean, actually, not day trading. I'm more of a swing trader. Not very good at day trading because you have to be sitting in front of the computer all day, and I just don't have the time to do that. Apollo, thank you for the follow. K Rulo, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I prefer forex, but options is okay too. Yeah. Problem with cuts. The problem with forex is that, because markets open at different times in Europe and Asia, forex moves when those markets open because those have the other currencies. So I don't like to do that because I'm not awake at those times. So I prefer to stay with to stick with the stock market because the market has a set time that works out for me. But I don't do forex. You trade penny stocks, Malcolm? No. Stay away from penny stocks, man. I do, just because those have a tendency to pump and then dump. Okay, so I don't do penny stocks. Hello, thoughts on UNH stock? Apollo, UNH. Here are my thoughts on UNH. Okay, UNH had an investigation by the Department of Justice. It's still, we don't know what's going on. We don't know if they actually committed fraud, and that's why the stock dropped. Among other things, they didn't have a guidance. The CEO quit, so that's why they dropped all the way to 255 or 245. I think that was the lowest. And then some insiders, the CFO and the CEO, bought a little bit of the stock because they know. I mean, they know the stocks, right? So they know whether their company committed fraud or not, and that's what pumped the stock a little bit. As you can see, it moved up a little bit. It went all the way down again to under 300. I thought 300 was gonna hold. I thought that was going to be support, but it looks like it's gonna be resistance now. As long as we don't hear good news about this stock, I think it still has room to drop. We need to hear what's going on with that investigation. And also, a lot of the executive orders that Trump is signing, like cuts on Medicare, cuts on medical, like a lot of that stuff does affect UNH. So as of now, things don't look very good for UNH. Uh, I I think it's a great company. I think it'll be okay in the long run. So it all depends on how long you're willing to wait for this stock. If you buy under 300, I think in the long term it will be okay, but in the short term, it might drop a little bit more. Those are my thoughts on UNH. Let's see. I missed 100% on PMAX. I was too scared. Looked too good. PMAX. I don't. What is that stock, Malcolm? I don't do penny stocks, so I don't know. All depends on the pre-market. Typically, if pre-market is high, expect a pull at the start and vice versa. Yeah, I mean sometimes. I mean you look at the futures, right, Isidro? So if you look at the futures and the futures are telling you, the stock is gonna be in the green. Sometimes the stocks respect the futures. Futures are not very accurate for the most part. So but yeah, sometimes it happens. If it's way up, it'll probably pull a little at the beginning because again, institutions, if they see some profit, they'll take it. If they see that some opportunity, they'll take it. So you don't like 100% ERS. Is that a ticker symbol, ERS, for a penny stock? Bandit, follow. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. K Rulo, share the live. So again, guys, if you guys are here, you guys are tapping the screen, giving me some likes and sharing the live. That helps with the algorithm so that my live can get to more people in the future. I'm trying to grow the channel, so I appreciate you guys, tapping and sharing the live. Okay, very much appreciated. Thank you very much, insightful. Apollo, no problem, man, no problem. I hope it helps. It helps you make a decision on that stock. Um, True Finder, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Carpenter John, CGC. CGC. I haven't heard about that one in a while. CGC. Is that the what's it called? Like a marijuana company? Wasn't there? I think I could have sworn that CGC. Canopy. There you go. Yeah. So I knew I had seen that before. Um I'm gonna tell you without even looking at the stock. I already know it has a nasty drop. Okay, without looking at the chart. So let's take a look at it. Okay. Yeah. See, nasty drop. It's been in a downtrend. I think at one point I remember seeing it at like $5, but I mean just look at this disaster. Since since April of 24, when it hit at all-time highs at $12, it just went all the way down to $1.83. I mean, this is Carpenter John. I mean, you never want to put money into stocks that have a downtrend. Um, Nothing here tells me that this stock is gonna recover. I mean, it has a couple of green candles, but it's still downtrending and still under the 200 SMA, which most stocks that are, especially penny stocks, that trend under the 200 SMA, they're just bad. It's a bad idea. The only way, I mean, if you're still hesitant about this stock, the only way that you would know, right, if this is a good stock to invest in, is to start seeing a reversal. To start seeing, I mean, it kind of looks like it's kind of breaking the downtrend, but I mean, still a penny stock, and penny stocks are very volatile. This could be just a false breakout, and then just take your money. All of those that people that short the stocks, they might just be waiting, and then you know short the stock, take your money. Let's see, Carulo, thank you, appreciate it. Thank you for the likes, guys. Thank you for the likes, and thank you for sharing the live. Again, if you guys tap the screen, that helps me a lot. Carpenter, thank you for the follow. Carulo, great info, bro. I'm new on this. No problem, man. Anytime. Hella dilution on what, on CGC? Is that what you mean? See that some teams. Okay, so let's look at something else, because I'm getting like a warning from TikTok, because we're looking at CGC. See, find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Recent regulated goods. Yeah. So I was looking at CGC, and I got a restriction from TikTok. I hope they don't stop my live. I know. See, TikTok is very delicate with those kind of topics. So even though it's just a stock. Okay, let's see. Follow the host, Carpenter. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Just a swing trade, Carpenter. I mean, even a day trade. I mean, with that swing trade, I would hesitate. If people are doing a day trade with this, it might work out, because that's what day traders do. They look for stocks that are volatile, where they could take advantage. They don't look at fundamentals. They don't care about fundamentals. They don't care about if it's a good company, a bad company. They just care about whether the stock can give them some profit. So day traders, scalpers, they like this kind of stuff. As a swing trader, I think it'll be a very difficult trade, because you don't know if you're buying at a high price and then it drops and never recovers, right? Thanks. No problem, man. Anytime. What do you trade on? I have two portfolios. One is on Charles Schwab, and the other one is on Robinhood. Just because for day trading, I think it's good enough for me. I know it lags a little bit behind compared to other brokers, but I mean, for me, it works out. For swing trading, it's just perfect for me. I don't need more. Thank you for the follow, Duck, or I don't know. I can't tell what that emoji is, but I'm gonna call you Duck. Appreciate it. Thank you for the follow. Hobie Collection, you joined. Thank you for joining the live. So again, guys, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Gerardo. I am a swing trader, and I also invest in the long term. So if you guys are new to the channel, I'm here Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, just to give you a little insight of what the market looked like during the day, and also what to expect for the following week. Scalping, Harris. No, I don't scalp, man. That's a very dangerous game, because I mean, I don't have the time to be sitting in front of the computer all day. So for me, because I like my time, I like my freedom, even if I'm not at work, because I do have a full-time job. If I'm not at work, I still wouldn't like to be sitting in front of the computer all day. Okay. I prefer to do swing trades, even if it's a little bit less profitable, or maybe much less profitable than scalping and day trading. I think I'm more at peace, by swing trading, because I can buy cheap and then not look at the computer until it's a right time to sell, and I don't have to be thinking about the stock. I don't have to be worrying about whether I'm losing my money or not. So I think swing works out better for me. Okay, so but that's just me. All right. Let's see. Any more comments? So for those of you that missed the the little lesson earlier, just wanted to let you guys know, how to mark and use the charts to mark support and resistance. So if you guys are still here and want to know a little bit about that, I'm just gonna share it one more time. So support is every time a stock drops and hits a certain price, and it goes up and then hits the price again, that becomes support because it keeps hitting that price, but it's not breaking through it. It's not going lower than that. So that is what we call support. Now, when the stock does the opposite, that it's trying to go up and it hits like a ceiling, and then it goes down and it goes back up, hits a ceiling again, that is resistance. Okay, so I'm going to give you the example of Google. Google has see if we look at the dailies, it has support at about $164. Okay, because you're gonna see different candles that hit that line or that price. Right there is one when it tried to break it at 165 and it went all the way down. Then it came back up, and then 4 days in a row, right here, it tried to break that price. It hit it once, went down, hit it again, went down, hit it again, went all the way down, but then it came back up. And then these candles also, I would count them as trying to break that that resistance. So it was trending there for a little while until finally it went all the way up and it hit the next resistance, which was at around $170. And I think at one point it went to like 177. So, but that was like a big jump. So it had to pull down a little bit. So now when it broke all of those resistances became support, and that's the line that you see here. That's the line that you see here. Now it broke the support at 170 again. When it broke it, it just it came back down as fast. So we can't really use that as support anymore. It'll definitely be a resistance, but not support anymore. So the next line of support will be at around 165. So if you guys, when you plan your entries into a stock, you always want to look for those either support or resistance to know more or less where the stock is going to go. If we have bad news, like the ones they dropped today, usually the stock hits that resistance and then it breaks through it like it did today. So I hope that makes sense. For those of you that are entering into this world of trading, that's it. That is how you read, support and resistance. Now, sometimes, because right now I'm looking at the daily candles. You guys see the daily candle right here. Sometimes the daily doesn't give you enough information. So that's when you go to the 4 hours, which is another time frame that a lot of people like to look at because it has a lot more details. As you guys can see here, as you guys can see here, I have the 4-hour chart, and you can see that there were a lot of candles. Okay, in the other chart and the other time frame, the day time frame, I could only see about 4 candles hitting that resistance. But in the 4-hour, I can see way more candles hitting that resistance. So that gives me more information about, okay, this is actually a resistance or support because I see way more candles. So that makes it more of a resistance or support, depending on where it is. In this case, this was a resistance, went back down, then went back up, still resistance until this big candle here broke that resistance, right? And now that resistance became support, which if Google continues to drop, it's probably gonna find that 164, 165 mark. It's never accurate. Okay, it's never accurate. It's not set in stone that it's gonna get to 165 exactly. Sometimes it's a little bit above 165 because just as you are looking at this chart, you have millions of people looking at this chart waiting for 165. Okay, they're just sitting there and waiting for 165. Now, what some institutions do is they start buying at 165.40 or 165.50 so that they can take advantage of this discount on the stock. So it drops down. Sometimes it gets to that 165.40 and then it goes back up. And there are a lot of us that stay just watching the screen and waiting for it to hit 165, right? And it also could happen a little bit lower. Maybe a lot of the investors, they just wait for 164.90 and it gets to 165, nobody's buying, and it just drops a little bit more. So it all depends. But just like again, like you're seeing the stock wanting to hit that support, millions of other people are doing the same thing. So that's why it's not accurate. It's never at that mark, because some of them are willing to buy it a little bit lower, some of them are willing to buy it a little bit higher. So it all depends. That's why you have that range, so that you know more or less, where it's a good price and where you can enter. So that's a little bit about support and resistance. So I hope that made a little sense. All right. So again, guys, if you guys are here tonight and giving me a little bit of your time, a little bit of your Friday night, appreciate it for you guys being here. And I'm about to get going in about a couple of minutes. So if you guys can tap the screen, give me a like, and share the channel, that is very much appreciated. So before I leave, I'm just gonna share a couple more things, and then we will call it a night. So want to share this with you guys, okay? Just so you know what to expect on this specific stock next week. Let's go here. All right. So to end the night today, towards the middle of the day, a company called Oracle, they mentioned that they are going to buy 40 billion worth of Nvidia chips. As you guys know, Nvidia is now the second most powerful company with the second largest market cap in the stock market. Well, what does that mean for the company? Well, you guys know that every 3 months companies have earnings, and they report how much money they made for the past 3 months. Nvidia is planning to report about $43 billion in profits this coming Wednesday. Now, with these news of Oracle wanting to buy 40 billion worth of Nvidia, well, guess what's going to happen? They're not going to report that money yet. But in their guidance, because after they report earnings, even if they're not great, or even if they don't reach, the numbers they wanted, when they give guidance and they tell the investors, hey, we have all of this money coming in the next 3 months, that's what investors like. They like guidance. I mean, they like earnings, of course, but they like guidance even more because they know what to expect for the next 3 months. And that's what makes investors put the money into the stock, because they know, hey, this stock is going to go up because of all the money they are getting from these other companies. I mean, Oracle is buying 40 billion. Elon Musk said on Wednesday that he's buying 1 million chips from Nvidia. Each one of the chips that Nvidia sells is about $10,000 to $40,000. I mean, you can do the math. So Nvidia is just getting a lot of business from a lot of companies. And in my opinion, I think Nvidia, when they report on Wednesday, they are going to have great earnings and great guidance. That's my prediction. That's just my opinion. Okay. I don't know what you guys think about that. But in my opinion, I think Nvidia is going to have great earnings, great guidance. The only thing that could hold or drop Nvidia is just the macroeconomy. Okay. Macroeconomy is the news around it. If all of the stocks are not doing great because of tariffs, because of whatever else came out during the weekend, that's the only thing that can hold Nvidia. But that doesn't mean that Nvidia is not worth it, or that doesn't mean that Nvidia is not valuable. Once we resolve everything with the tariffs and everything is settled, Nvidia is just gonna skyrocket, because now there's nothing else that is stopping Nvidia. Right now, if it wasn't for tariffs and if it wasn't for all these bad news about adding tariffs to the European Union, and a pause with China because they don't want to deal yet. If we didn't have those kind of news, I firmly believe that Nvidia will probably be at 150 or 160 right now. Okay, but because of all of this bad news, that's pulling Nvidia down. That has nothing to do with Nvidia. Okay, Nvidia has nothing to do with all of this bad news that they've been dropping on the market. So yep. Exactly, Isidro. Not financial advice, just my opinion. That's what I believe Nvidia is gonna do. I have excuse me. I have some shares on Nvidia. I'm trying to get out of it before earnings because I don't want to play the lottery. You know, I even though I think Nvidia is gonna have great reports, I still don't know. If there's a tiny thing that investors don't like, I think Nvidia could move down about. I think the IV, the implied volatility on Nvidia, I think it's about 5% to 6%, which means it could drop like $5 7 either to either side, either down or up. So I'm not playing that. I'm trying to get out of that trade. Hopefully by Wednesday before they report earnings. Um, Worst case scenario, if I don't have my profit, I mean I'll just wait, and we'll have to wait. But that would be a big bet. I don't like to do that. So I'm gonna try to get out of Nvidia by Tuesday or Wednesday. Hopefully the market is on my favor. Um, Nvidia is known for pump and dump right at earnings. Good day. Yeah, I mean they usually pump a couple of weeks before earnings, which we had that pump last Wednesday or this past Wednesday when it went to 137, and then we had bad news for the bond market, and then Nvidia went down to like 131, 130, which it closed at 131 today. So yeah, I agree. I think it likes to pump, but again, if they've been dumping for the past three earnings, even though the earnings were great, and well, I mean, we'll see what happens this time. I think they're gonna have great earnings. It's just a matter of what the market is expecting. Investors are they're very detailed. They just like to see perfect earnings when it comes to Nvidia. That is just has to do with international transports, which makes a huge percentage of Nvidia. No, it just has to do with international transports, which makes a huge up or percentage of Nvidia. Yeah, you mean like when they send them out to other countries? Yeah, I mean, and I know they're trying to remove some restrictions so that Nvidia can sell in other countries. I mean, they're selling in Saudi Arabia now, which they weren't planning that, but they closed a deal with Saudi Arabia, who's who's going to buy about 18,000 chips, I believe. Last time I read, I haven't read anything lately, but I know last week that's what they mentioned. They closed a deal with Saudi Arabia, so that was not in the plan, but now it is. So I think that they're gonna mention that also in guidance, and I hope that investors like that they will be bringing in more revenue because of all of these deals they've been closing with other companies. After earnings, they will dump back to 115. Who knows, man? I again, I don't go based on my opinion when it comes to earnings. I go based on the data. So the data says that the implied volatility on Nvidia is about 5%, 5-6%, which means about $7. Okay, $7 either up or down. So that's the information I have. My opinion, I mean, I could think whatever of Nvidia. I could think it's gonna drop to 125, which has a lot of support there. But if the implied volatility tells me that maybe the support is 127, 129, then that's probably where it's gonna go. Okay, because that's just the data. That's gonna take time to process before any returns come back. What do you mean, good day? All right. I think that's all I have to share with you guys today. So I hope that information helped a little bit to know what to expect on the market on Tuesday. As you guys know, market is closed um, on Monday. So Memorial Day weekend, market closed. We won't see anything happening until Tuesday. I hope that we get some good news, and and we have the market opening in green on Tuesday. That's the only thing that I mean. We already have the bad news, so they already said that we might have a deal with India announced in the next 7 to 10 days. That will be good news for the market. I hope. And then the European Union, they haven't said anything um, about what Trump said this morning. So when they come out and say something about maybe willing to come to the table to deal with that 50% tariff, then maybe that will pump the markets too. But again, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Okay. All right, guys. So we'll appreciate you guys being here tonight. Julie and let's see, Julie, Isidro, Rosario, who were here pretty much my entire live. I appreciate guys you being here, giving me a little bit of your time, and please join me every Monday through Friday from 9 to 11, and to talk about the markets. I won't be here tomorrow or Sunday, but Monday definitely before we open markets again on Tuesday. So enjoy your 3-day weekend. I hope you guys get some rest, disconnect from the market. If you're reading and you're studying, I mean, try to do it, but also try to disconnect a little bit from this, because this is a nonstop knowledge. You will never finish learning about news, about the market, about stocks. It's a never ending. So sometimes you just have to take a little break, disconnect, give some time to your family, enjoy life a little, and then come back to the grind on Tuesday, okay, or Monday night if you join my live. So that said, hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you next week, Monday, 9 to 11. So have a great night, guys. No problem, Isidro. Thank you for being here, man. Appreciate it. Julie, thank you for sharing. No problem. Thank you for being here and support the live. So have a great night, guys. Thank you for being here.